Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into the story of the Kutchi Lohana community. You likely know them from the Kutch region of Gujarat in India, but, well, their journey extends way beyond that, across the globe, really.
It's a fascinating story.
We've gathered quite a rich collection of sources for this, a detailed study, various online resources, basically, to try and unearth the most compelling bits of their history, their culture, and this really remarkable global journey they've been on.
Yeah, and our mission today, as I see it, is to kind of extract those core insights. What really defines this community?
Exactly, highlighting their incredible resilience, their knack for adaptation, and, that powerful entrepreneurial spirit that just seems woven into their fabric.
It's a truly expansive story, isn't it? Touching on centuries and continents. What immediately strikes you from the sources is this deep connection to their past,
Right.
constantly informing their present, even as they've navigated, well, immense change.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning then. Our sources uncover some pretty fascinating ancestral claims. It appears their lineage is traced way, way back to the Suryavanshi, or the Solar Dynasty.
The Solar Dynasty.
Yeah, think of the great royal houses of ancient India.
Yeah.
And even specifically to Luev, the son of Lord Rama in the Ramayana.
Right, and the Raghu dynasty, the Raghuvansh, that connection keeps coming up. It seems really significant for their identity.
It absolutely does. And this deep-rooted belief in their sort of noble lineage isn't just ancient history for them, is it?
No, not at all. It acts as this powerful source of pride, social cohesion, maybe even contributing to their strong sense of self when they've faced adversity over the centuries.
That makes sense.
This claim of descent from such a revered line gives them a kind of historical anchor that's likely endured through all these transformations.
And the name Lohana itself, there seem to be a few intriguing possibilities there too.
Yeah.
One idea links it to Luvanam, which could, simply mean descendants of Lukav. Pretty straightforward. But then there's this other really compelling connection to Loharana, stemming from places like Lohargat or Lohargat, often associated with Lahore.
Oh, whore. Right.
And translating to something like masters of swords or iron chiefs. Given their history, that image of a warrior past really resonates, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And there's even that legend about the deity Varuna creating an iron fort, Lohagar, for some Rathore Rajputs, who then became known as Lohanas.
Right. So multiple threads pointing towards strength, maybe metals, iron.
What's fascinating here is how these different potential origins might reflect different facets of their history. The link to Lov gives them that ancient, almost mythical foundation, while Loharana points to a more, perhaps, concrete era of military strength. Even the Varuna legend, though maybe symbolic, reinforces this association with resilience and power, those of iron.
It gets even more interesting when we look at historical accounts from, outside observers. Centuries ago, Chinese travelers like Faihen Kermang,
Oh, wow.
they described a brave community ruling in the Northwest, possessing a mighty kingdom they actually called Lohani.
Lohani. Interesting.
And later, historians like Burton and Colonel James Todd also noted their presence across a vast area, Balochistan, Afghanistan, even into Central Asia, describing them as this brave, ancient Kshatriya community.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it, of them serving as a kind of buffer against invasions from the Northwest for centuries.
Exactly. If we connect this to the broader sweep of South Asian history, their geographical position in the Northwest would have absolutely placed them on the front lines of various incursions.
Definitely. These historical accounts, combined with their own ancestral narrative, strongly suggest a long period where their identity was really closely tied to their role as protectors and rulers in those regions.
But, history moves on. By the 7th to 11th centuries, it sounds like they faced increasing pressure, military setbacks in those northern territories. And this led to a significant migration southward into the Sindh region of what's now Pakistan.
Right. And a figure named Veer Dada Jashraj becomes really important here. Remembered for his leadership during this period of conflict, this transition associated with that Lohargad kingdom.
Oh, okay. So he's kind of a key figure in that shift.
Absolutely. This migration marks a crucial turning point for the community. It signifies a period of significant upheaval and, well, adaptation. They had to leave their ancestral lands, navigate new political landscapes.
And Veer Dada Jashraj emerges as a key symbol of their resilience during this presumably very difficult time.
Precisely.
Now, while the main story focuses on this Kshatriya lineage and migration, our sources also present some alternative perspectives, which always adds interesting layers, I find.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, some scholars suggest they might have been considered part of the Jats in Sindh, or at least closely associated with them.
Okay.
There's also the idea of later Punjabi migrations into Sindh, potentially leading to assimilation into the existing Lohana community.
Interesting. So a mixing pot.
Exactly. And we see noted connections and similarities with other communities like the Aravanchis, Bhatiyas, and Khatris, hinting at maybe shared origins or at least significant historical interaction, intermingling.
This raises an important point, I think, about the fluidity of historical identities. It's pretty unlikely that any community's history is just a single, unbroken line, right?
Right.
These alternative perspectives suggest a much more complex reality. Interactions, potential merging with other groups, evolving social classifications over time. It reminds us to look beyond just one narrative and appreciate the nuances.
Absolutely. Then came the establishment of Muslim rule in Sindh, another really pivotal period.
Yeah.
The Lohana kingdom as it was gradually disintegrated, and the community started to fragment within Sindh itself.
And this is when we see the beginnings of religious divergence. Huge development.
Right. Leading to the emergence of the Memon community who converted to Sunni Islam. That's a significant branch splitting off.
A very significant branch.
And the Khojas, who followed Shia Ismaili Nizari Islam a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Sindh seems to have been a real crucible because it's also where these socio-occupational subdivisions, like the MLs often in administrative roles and the Baibans more into trade, started to form within the Hindu Lohana population itself.
Yeah, understanding those internal structures really helps appreciate the complexity of their social fabric.
It does.
What's fascinating here is how political and religious shifts can just profoundly impact a community's structure and identity. The conversion of some Lohanas to Islam created these lasting new identities.
Right.
While within the remaining Hindu population, we see the development of more defined social roles based on occupation, education. Sindh truly was a transformative region for them, marking the beginnings of these distinct paths.
And the journey wasn't over yet. From the 11th to 13th centuries onwards, driven by maybe a sense of insecurity or threat in Sindh,
Yeah, likely.
many Lohanas began migrating eastward again, this time into the Kutch region and neighboring Saurashtra, part of modern Gujarat.
And some accounts even link Veer Dada Jashraj to this phase of relocation too, suggesting his continued importance as a kind of guiding figure through these migrations.
Wow, so his influence spans centuries.
It seems so. This second major migration really speaks to their continued determination to find stability, preserve their way of life. The move towards Kutch marks another significant geographical shift and really sets the stage for their later prominence in that region.
You can really see this pattern of adapting to circumstances, finding new avenues for growth, repeating throughout their history.
Absolutely. It's a core theme.
For a while, it seems like the Lohanas in Kutch experienced a period of relative peace. But then came this significant disruption in 1764, the Battle of Zora.
Ah, yes, against Ghulam Shah Kahora of Sindh.
Right. And even though they fought with incredible bravery, there are powerful stories of women fighting alongside the men.
Amazing.
They were ultimately defeated. Our sources mention these memorial stones, paliyas, scattered across Kutch, which serve as these poignant reminders of those who fell.
The Battle of Zora was clearly a watershed moment, a turning point. Despite their valor, the defeat had profound consequences.
How so?
Well, it seems to have led to a fundamental shift in their primary occupation. It's a powerful example of how historical events can just reshape a community's identity and future trajectory.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it was after this that we see this large-scale transition from being primarily warriors, that Kshatriya role, to becoming heavily involved in trade and the Vaishya role.
Right. A major pivot.
And it's around this time that the surname Thakar started becoming much more common among Gujarati and Kutchi Lohanas, often signifying their new mercantile status.
Thakar. Okay.
Yet, it's interesting. Male Gujarati Lohanas still wear the janoi, the sacred thread, apparently in honor of Veer Dada Jashraj, keeping that tangible connection to their Kshatriya past alive.
That's a key point, isn't it? The shift in occupation wasn't a complete erasure of their earlier identity.
Right.
The janoi serves as this tangible reminder of their warrior heritage, suggesting a way of honoring the past while embracing the present. The adoption of Thakar reflects their new economic reality, but the janoi provides that link back to their ancestral claims.
It really highlights how communities can retain symbols of their past even as their roles evolve.
Precisely.
From Kutch, their movement continued. Many Lohanas migrated further into other parts of Gujarat, seeking, I assume, more trading opportunities.
Yes, exactly. This led to the formation of distinct subgroups, the Halai Lohanas in the Halar region, the Gogari Lohanas in Goga,
Okay.
and increasing numbers settling in urban centers like Rajkot, Jamnagar, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Surat.
So this really solidified the distinctions we see between the Kutchi Lohanas and these other Gujarati Lohana subgroups.
It did. This dispersal across Gujarat highlights their entrepreneurial drive, their willingness to seek out new opportunities. The development of these regional subgroups reflects the influence of local cultures, economic environments on different branches of the community.
It shows how geographical movement can lead to both expansion and, well, differentiation within a community.
Well put.
Then we reach the impact of the 1947 partition of India. Another huge moment.
Massive.
This triggered another massive migration, especially for Sindhi Lohanas, both the Amils and the Baibans, and some Kutchi Lohanas who had settled in Sindh.
Right, moving back towards India.
They moved to India, including back to Gujarat, Kutch, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, but also further afield to Maharashtra, Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, other Indian cities too.
It must have been a period of just enormous upheaval.
Absolutely. And it sounds like many lost significant properties in Sindh, which further pushed them towards trade, industry, professional services for their livelihoods in India.
Partition was traumatic for countless communities, and the Lohanas were no exception. The loss of ancestral homes, businesses in Sindh forced many to rebuild their lives completely in India. This likely amplified their focus on economic activities where they could leverage their existing skills, their networks. And the migration to new urban centers also facilitated further diversification into professional fields.
It just underscores the profound impact of political events on community trajectories, doesn't it? And the remarkable ability of people to rebuild after displacement.
Truly remarkable resilience.
So that covers a lot of ground in terms of their history and migrations. A pretty epic journey.
It really is.
Having traced that remarkable journey through time and across regions, let's now turn our attention to the rich cultural tapestry they've woven, starting with their unique language.
Kutchi, yes.
The primary linguistic identifier, as we've seen, is the Kutchi language. It's classified as an Indo-Aryan language, think North Indian languages, derived from Prakrit, an ancient Indian language. It's often considered a dialect of Sindhi because they share a lot of vocabulary phonetic features, including these interesting implosive consonants.
The implosives. Yes, that's a key feature shared with Sindhi, like a sound made by sucking air inwards.
Right. But it also has a degree of mutual intelligibility with Gujarati, which makes sense given its geographic location, sitting right there between Sindhi, Kathiawari, and Marwari.
It's geographically positioned as a bridge, linguistically, too.
Yeah. And interestingly, the Indian census has even listed Kutchi as a sublanguage of Sindhi, highlighting that close relationship.
The linguistic position of Kutchi really reflects the community's historical journey, doesn't it? As a bridge between regions.
Totally.
The similarities with both Sindhi and Gujarati highlight the influences they've been exposed to. The fact that it's sometimes classified as a dialect of Sindhi and other times seen as distinct just underscores its unique character.
It's a reminder that language itself can be a living record of a community's history and interactions.
It's exact.
What's quite notable, though, is that Kutchi is predominantly a spoken language, a Boli, without a universally adopted standardized script.
Right. That's significant.
There were historical scripts like Kochki associated with Ismaili communities, and maybe even an indigenous Kutchi script. You can apparently find samples in the Kutch Museum.
Oh, really?
But these aren't really in widespread use anymore. In India today, they typically use a modified Gujarati script for writing Kutchi, especially for things like education, business.
And in Pakistan?
Likely a modified Perso-Arabic script, similar to Sindhi. This lack of a standard script means that a lot of their culture, recipes, stories, history gets passed down through oral tradition.
The reliance on oral tradition is really significant. It means that language, cultural knowledge are actively transmitted through direct interaction, which can really strengthen community bonds.
Good point.
While the lack of a standardized script might present challenges in some areas, like formal education maybe, it also ensures that the language remains a living, evolving entity within the community. It highlights the power of the spoken word in preserving cultural heritage.
Linguistically, it's interesting to note that Kutchi follows a subject-object-verb structure, which is common in Indo-Aryan languages, although word order can be a bit flexible. It has grammatical gender, and they use distinct second-person pronouns, twos for informal, and AZs for formal or respectful address.
Oh, the Ts and IC. That tells you something about social etiquette, doesn't it?
It does, and you mentioned those four implosive consonants, more common in Sindhi than Gujarati, though they might vary across different Kutchi dialects.
Yeah, dialectal variations definitely exist depending on proximity to Sindh or other parts of Kutch.
And in the diaspora, you even see these creolized forms emerging, like Kutchi Swahili in East Africa. That's fascinating.
It really is. Where they've incorporated Swahili words and phrases, a fantastic example of linguistic adaptation.
These linguistic nuances really paint a picture of a vibrant and adaptable language.
Absolutely. The dialectal variations, the creolized forms in the diaspora, they demonstrate how language evolves in response to geographical movement and contact with other cultures. Kutchi, in its somewhat ambiguous status and its reliance on oral transmission, truly embodies the community's history as a bridge between different worlds.
It's like a microcosm of how language reflects and shapes cultural identity.
Perfectly put.
Okay, let's move on to their distinct cultural practices and social customs, especially marriage.
Right.
Our sources emphasize this strong connection to their regional roots and that entrepreneurial drive we keep seeing. And it's clear that centuries of geographical separation have led to cultural differences between Kutchi, Sindhi, and other Gujarati Lohana groups.
Makes sense. Different environments, different influences over time.
When it comes to marriage, finding a partner within the community, endogamy, marriage within their own group seems to be preferred. Someone who shares their language, values, background.
That's common in many close-knit communities seeking to preserve cultural heritage, maintain cohesion.
And they're definitely using modern tools for this. Matrimonial websites specifically catering to Kutchi Lohanas and the broader Lohana community are apparently quite active.
Adapting traditional practices to the modern age, leveraging technology to connect within their community, even across huge geographical distances.
Yeah, but traditional considerations like astrological compatibility, matching interests, those still seem to hold relevance.
So a blend of old and new in finding partners. It highlights that ongoing interplay between tradition and modernity in shaping social customs.
Now, when it comes to the wedding rituals themselves, wow, it's a pretty elaborate affair.
Oh, I bet.
It seems to blend a lot of general Gujarati Hindu traditions with some specific Lohana or Kutchi elements. We see key pre-wedding ceremonies like Chandal Matli, the formal proposal acceptance,
Okay.
Goldana or Sagai, the engagement often involving jaggery and coriander, sweet start.
Nice symbolism.
Ganesh Matli, invoking Lord Ganesha for blessings. Mandap Maharat, blessing the wedding canopy. Griya Shanti, a puja for peace in the home. The Mehendi, of course, with henna.
Always beautiful.
Pithi, the turmeric paste application for good luck. Magriyo, the maternal uncle's traditional gifts. And Sangeet Santhaya, the music and dance evening.
Quite a buildup. Each of these carries its own symbolic meaning, preparing the couple and their families for the union.
It really highlights the importance of family involvement, seeking blessings, celebrating the upcoming event, shows the rich symbolism embedded in traditional rituals.
Definitely.
And the wedding day itself is packed with rituals too. Vargodo or Barat, the groom's procession. Jan or Pongfu, the welcoming of the groom and his party. Jaimala, the garland exchange. Madhuparka, offering a sacred drink. And Tarpat, that cloth curtain held between the bride and groom.
Ah, yes, the Enterpot.
Kanyadan, the giving away of the bride.
Yeah.
Hastamilap, the joining of hands. And then, this is interesting, the Mangal Feras.
The circumambulations around the fire, how many?
Well, unlike the 7 common in many North Indian Hindu traditions, Gujarati weddings, including Lohana ones, often only have 4 feras, each representing one of the 4 goals of life, apparently.
4, okay. That's a distinct regional variation. Interesting.
Yeah. Then there's Saptapadi, the 7 steps symbolizing the vows. Sindoor Dan and Mangal Sutra, the symbols of marriage. Kansar, the first meal together as husband and wife. And finally, Ashirvad, seeking blessings from elders.
It's a rich sequence. And those subtle variations, like the 4 feras instead of 7, they point to the distinct regional and community-specific nuances within the broader Hindu wedding traditions.
Exactly. These small differences are often deeply meaningful and contribute to the unique identity of the community. It's a reminder that even within a larger cultural framework, local variations hold real significance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the post-wedding rituals continue. Vidai, the bride's often emotional farewell from her parental home. Garnu Lakshmi, welcoming the bride into her new home as a symbol of prosperity. A Kibeki, a playful ring game.
Fun.
And this one sounds fun too. Sasuke Taiano, where the groom playfully asks his mother-in-law for more gifts.
A A bit of lightheartedness after all the ceremony.
Yeah. And one of our sources, actually a Reddit comment, mentioned a unique local custom where daughters might not touch elders' feet for blessings during weddings, but sometimes elders might touch the daughter's feet on certain occasions.
Oh, that's really interesting. A reversal of the usual gesture, suggesting maybe a particular form of respect or blessing for the daughter.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It really seems their marriage customs are this blend of general Gujarati Hindu practices with these specific Lohana and Kutchi elements reflecting their history and regional identity.
And we even see adaptations in the diaspora, right? Like with food or maybe marriage policies among Lahanas in East Africa showing their flexibility.
Exactly. The blend of traditions and the adaptations in the diaspora are testament to the community's ability to maintain core values while also being flexible, responsive to new contexts.
It shows a living culture that evolves without losing its essential character. A great example of how culture is both enduring and dynamic.
Definitely. Now let's talk about festivals and community celebrations. Of course, they celebrate all the major pan-Hindu festivals: Navratri, Diwali, Holi, Mahashivaratri, Janmashtami, Ramnavami.
The big ones, yeah.
But there are some community-specific festivals that hold particular significance. Cheti Chand, for example, sounds huge.
Oh, Cheti Chand is massive. It's the Sindhi and Lohana New Year, marking the birth anniversary of their patron deity, Lord Jhulelal.
Jhulelal. We'll come back to him.
Yes, it happens around March, April, and is a major unifying force for the community globally.
Wow. Then there's Chalio, or Chalio Sahib, a 40-day period of observance dedicated to Lord Hula.
40 days, that's significant dedication.
And Jalaram Jayanti, the birthday of the revered Saint Jalaram Bapa, is another major festival, especially in his hometown of Virpur.
We'll need to talk more about Jalaram Bapa, too, a hugely important figure.
Definitely. Living in Kutch, they also participate in regional fairs and festivals like the Ran Utsav, local melas.
Yeah, immersed in the local culture, too.
And in the diaspora, community organizations play a vital role in organizing cultural events and festival celebrations, helping to keep those traditions alive far from home. Think Saul Mubarak gatherings, holy parties, cultural programs.
These community-specific festivals are absolutely crucial for reinforcing shared identity, collective memory. They provide opportunities for the community to come together, celebrate their heritage, pass down traditions to younger generations, both in India and across the diaspora.
It really highlights the importance of shared celebrations and maintaining those community bonds.
Without a doubt.
Moving on to food. Kutchi Lohana food habits.
Always a good topic.
Rooted in Kutchi cuisine, which makes sense given their strong association with the region. It sounds like the arid environment has really shaped the food, emphasizing simplicity, preservation, using locally available ingredients.
Adapting to the land.
It's predominantly vegetarian, with staples like bajra, that millet,
Hearty grain.
besan, gram flour, various legumes, ghee, of course, and lots of garlic, common spices.
Sounds hearty and flavorful.
Some signature dishes that come up are bajran arotla, that classic flatbread, the very popular Kutchi Dabeli street food.
Oh, dabli is fantastic. Sweet, spicy, savory.
Dal dokli, lentils with spiced wheat dumplings. Khichdi and kadi, often made in a traditional Kutch style. Undiyu, the mixed vegetable casserole, especially in winter.
A Gujarati classic.
Various vegetable dishes, or shaks like sev tomato shag, lasuni aloo, and a whole range of snacks, or
Some, yeah.
lova kachori, pakoras, fafda, kanvi, dokla. Interestingly, our sources note that Lohanas, especially Gujarati Lohanas, own a significant share of these farsan marts, those shops selling savory snacks.
Oh, that makes sense. Connecting their entrepreneurial spirit with a popular culinary tradition.
Exactly. And for sweets, mishtan, there's gulab pak, adadia pak, jalebi, finya ladu, siro, and even rot, which might have links to the Middle Eastern basbousa, and is also significant in Kutchi Memon tradition.
Wow, quite a range of sweets, too. The Kutchi cuisine, with its focus on hearty grains and preservation techniques, really reflects that ingenuity of adapting to a challenging environment.
Yeah.
The prevalence of vegetarianism aligns with broader Hindu dietary practices, particularly among mercantile communities. And that mention of Lohana ownership of farsan marts highlights their entrepreneurial success within a specific food sector. It's a taste of how environment and occupation can shape culinary traditions.
When it comes to dietary patterns generally, it seems like while vegetarianism is advocated in Hinduism and historically associated with merchant castes, the reality within the Lohana community is perhaps more nuanced.
How so?
Some sources mention that, for instance, Sindhi Lohanas might consume meat and alcohol, and there's evidence of dietary adaptation in the East African diaspora, too.
Okay, so not entirely monolithic.
Right. While beef is generally avoided by non-vegetarian Hindus, some devout Vaishnavas might also avoid onion and garlic.
True, those are common Vaishnava restrictions.
The fact that a Kutchi Lohana community hall in Mumbai apparently allows outside vegetarian food could suggest a strong preference for vegetarian catering in that specific community context, maybe.
That's an interesting indicator. So, assuming everyone is strictly vegetarian might be inaccurate. Practices likely vary based on region, historical influences, diaspora adaptations.
Exactly. And we even see examples of this in the diaspora cuisine itself. Kutchi Memons in Kochi, using local Kerala ingredients, distinct spice blends among Bangalore Kutchi Memons.
The dietary variations within the broader Lohana community, including Memons who originated from them, underscore the impact of both regional and historical factors on food practices. While core Hindu values influence the overall trend towards vegetarianism for many Hindu Lohanas, contact with different cultures and local food availability in the diaspora have clearly led to diversification. It's a reminder that community practices are often dynamic and not monolithic.
Good point. Okay, let's shift gears now and look at their socioeconomic profile.
Right, the structure of the community.
Socially, Lohanas are primarily identified as a trading or mercantile jati or community, and have been for centuries, especially after that move towards Gujarat.
But they also strongly maintain those claims of Kshatriya origin, the warrior lineage we talked about.
Exactly. Our sources even mention their traditional ritual position being somewhat ambiguous, perhaps reflecting this dual heritage.
Interesting, a blend of identities.
We've already touched on the main subgroups, Kutchi Lohanas, Sindhi Lohanas, further divided into Amils, Baiban Sahidis, and Gujarati Lohanas, Halai and Gogari. Apparently, there were historical efforts to unify under just Lohana, but these regional identifiers often stick around, highlighting the enduring influence of local history and experience.
That persistence of subgroups despite unification efforts highlights how deeply rooted those regional and historical experiences are.
Yeah. Within the Sindhi Lohanas, that internal stratification between the educated Amils and the trading Baibans is quite interesting, showing a kind of division of labor or focus.
Right. Amils more towards administration, Baibans towards commerce.
And like many communities in India, they have a clan system, these noks or paras, often tracing back to a common ancestor. This plays a role in social organization and regulating marriage. That's exogamy, meaning marrying outside your own clan.
Got it. Clan exogamy, but community endogamy generally.
Exactly. Surnames are also important markers of social divisions and lineage. We mentioned Thakar becoming common among Gujarati Kutchi Lohanas, and Ani endings are often seen among Sindhi Lohanas. Some surnames even seem linked to historical figures or places, potentially hinting at historical interactions with other communities like Bhatiyas and Khatris.
The social structure reflects a complex interplay of regional identity, historical occupational roles, and lineage. The clan system and surnames provide that framework for social organization and connection to ancestral roots. It's a glimpse into the intricate ways communities organize themselves.
When it comes to family and kinship systems, it's generally patriarchal and patrilineal, aligning with patterns in North and West India.
Okay, standard for the region.
Caste endogamy and clan exogamy are the traditional rules for marriage. Unlike in South India, cross-cousin marriage is generally a taboo.
Right, that's a key north-south distinction in India.
There's a distinction between consanguineal kin blood relatives and a final kin relatives by marriage. And strong emphasis is placed on kinship ties, respect for elders, family unity.
Core traditional values.
But as with many communities, these traditional systems are changing. Due to urbanization, mobility, the rise of nuclear families, increased access to education, greater economic independence, legal reforms.
The forces of modernity.
We're seeing a rise in love marriages, intercaste unions, formal institutions are taking on some roles traditionally held by the family, and new community-based organizations are emerging.
So it sounds like Kutchi Lohana families are likely holding on to core traditional elements while also navigating the realities of modern life, especially in urban and diaspora settings.
That seems to be the picture.
The evolution of family and kinship systems is a universal phenomenon in the face of modernization. The Lohana community, while valuing its traditional structures, is clearly adapting to the changing social and economic landscape. Shifts in marriage practices, family dynamics. It illustrates how societies balance tradition and change within the fundamental unit of the family.
And their occupations, as we've discussed, have undergone a pretty significant evolution.
Big time.
From those foundational claims of Kshatriya origins as administrators, rulers, protectors, and maybe some early involvement in agriculture, we saw that gradual shift towards mercantile occupations, really solidifying in Kutch, especially after the Battle of Zora.
Right, that was the catalyst.
Within Sind, we saw that occupational diversification with emils in administration, baibans in trade, but that cultivated entrepreneurial spirit, particularly among Gujarati Kutchi Lohanas and their diaspora, really stands out as a hallmark.
It really does.
Their historical involvement in seafaring trade from Kutch ports is also worth noting as an early example of their outward-looking economic activities.
Definitely. The occupational journey of the Lohana community is a compelling example of adaptability. Their ability to transition from military roles to trade and commerce, and to cultivate that strong entrepreneurial ethos, has been crucial to their success and resilience over centuries.
It's like a case study in how communities can pivot and thrive in the face of changing circumstances.
Absolutely.
And in the contemporary world, their business activities and economic contributions are really impressive. They continue to have a strong presence in trade, commerce, and industry globally.
Everywhere, it seems.
We see specific examples across so many sectors. The food industry, with those Farsan marts we mentioned, retail and wholesale, including those early shops established by migrants in the UK, and major groups like the Demeksha Group.
Big players.
Manufacturing and industry with famous families like Madhvani and Mehta in East Africa, and brands like Tiller Rice, the Thakwar family, Prince Plastic, Nilkamal Plastics, even historical connections to Kato Textiles, and the massive Adani Group has Lohana roots.
Wow, quite a list across different industries.
Yeah. They're also significant in pharmaceuticals, hospitality, healthcare. Lots of examples in the UK like Patessa, Chetawani, Sakdev, Polpat Families Finance, and professional services. Even the Prestige Group in India, led by Irfan Razak, has Kutchi Memon and thus historical Lohana links.
It's incredible to see their success linked to that broader role of entrepreneurship and economic development, driving innovation, creating jobs, generating wealth.
And their economic impact in diaspora regions, from East Africa historically to the UK more recently, is also remarkable, often seen as a model immigrant group for economic progress.
They certainly have that reputation. It's quite a story of evolving from regional traders to global entrepreneurs. It shows that adaptability, those market identification skills, leveraging networks, scaling ventures, it seems to be deeply ingrained.
It really does. Their economic success globally is a testament to their business acumen, their strong work ethic, and their ability to adapt to diverse economic environments.
Their contributions across such a wide range of sectors highlight their significant impact on both their home countries and their adopted lands. It underscores the powerful role of entrepreneurship in shaping community success and economic growth.
Definitely. Okay, now let's delve into their religious beliefs and practices.
Right, the spiritual dimension.
Our sources tell us that the overwhelming majority are Hindu, with deep reverence for Lord Rama, linking back to that Suryavanshi connection.
Rama is central.
And for Lord Krishna, especially in his Srinathji form, which is very popular in Gujarat.
Yes, Srinathji worship is strong there.
Devotion to Shakti, the divine feminine energy, is also important. Worship of goddesses like Ravarandal Mataji and Ambika. For some, Hinglaj Mata, whose ancient shrine is way over in Balochistan, is considered their Kuldevi, or family deity.
Hinglaj Mata. That points to very ancient roots in that northwestern region.
It does. And then there are these important clan deities, Fideta Jashraj, the protector figure we've mentioned.
The warrior leader.
Darial, or Kulela, often seen as the same figure, Udurlal. Their patron deity, a savior figure, often seen as an avatar of the water god Varuna. His legend is huge in Sindh, revered by Hindus and even some Muslims as Sheikh Tahir.
Jhulelal Darial is incredibly important, especially for Sindhi and Kutchi communities, a unifying figure.
Yeah, there are specific priests, pujaras, who perform his puja, and a lineage, the Ratnani, considered his descendants. Also, Sinavi Shri Sikataramata and Harkor Ba mentioned as clan deities.
And the worship of the sun, Surya, also aligns with that Suryavanshi lineage, they claim.
Right, so the religious landscape reflects a blend of pan-Hindu beliefs and practices with these specific devotions that are really central to their community identity.
Absolutely. These clan deities and patron figures serve as important focal points for their shared heritage and spiritual life. It highlights how communities often develop unique religious traditions alongside broader faith practices.
Now, the significance of Saint Jalaram Bapa really stands out.
Oh, yes. Jalaram Bapa.
Born in the late 18th century, 1799, died 1881. He was a devout follower of Rama from the Lohana Thakur clan.
From Virpur.
Exactly. His most enduring legacy is that Sadavrat in Virpur, providing free meals to everyone, regardless of caste or creed, which apparently continues uninterrupted to this day.
That's just remarkable, isn't it? An act of sustained charity over centuries.
It really is. There are so many legends of miracles associated with him. Inexhaustible grain stores, healing powers, the story of God testing his hospitality, leaving behind the Jaholi, a cloth bag, and Danda, a staff, which are now venerated at the Virpur shrine, is particularly moving.
It is. His life really exemplified selfless service, devotion, compassion, making him a major spiritual figure.
And his birthday, Jalaram Jayanti, is a huge festival, especially in Virpur.
Jalaram Bapa's story resonates so deeply because he embodied those core Hindu values like selfless service, seva, and compassion, daya. The ongoing tradition of the Sadavrat in Virpur is a powerful testament to his enduring impact and the community's commitment to these principles.
It's an inspiring example of how individuals can leave such a lasting spiritual legacy.
Truly.
When it comes to key temples, shrines, and pilgrimage sites. Virpur, of course, is primary for Jalaram Bapa. The shrine complex includes his house, the deities he worshipped, and that venerated Jaholi and Danda.
And they famously stopped accepting monetary donations there some years ago, didn't they?
Yes, since 2000 apparently. A unique policy focusing purely on service. There are also nearby samadhis, memorial shrines.
Right. Then there are the sites dedicated to Jhulelal.
Yeah, the Jhulelal shrine in Sindh is historically so important, revered by both Hindus and some Muslims as Sheikh Tahir. That shared reverence is fascinating.
It speaks to the syncretic culture of Sindh historically.
Then there's the Jhulelal Tirtham at Narayan Sarovar in Kutch.
Narayan Sarovar, a major pilgrimage site in Kutch.
And even a Darial temple mentioned in Mattancherry, Kochi, down in Kerala, which sounds quite unique for Kerala.
Potentially, yes. It shows the spread of the community and their devotion.
And interestingly, there's a Sri Karachi Kutchi Lohana, Narayan Sarovaria, and Lakpatiya Mahajan organization explicitly linking back to that Narayan Sarovar site.
Connecting the diaspora back to the homeland pilgrimage centers.
And beyond these major figures, there are, of course, local temples for major Hindu deities and those clan deities we mentioned. The Swaminarayan faith and its temples are also noted as quite popular among diaspora Lohanas.
Yes, Swaminarayan Sampradaya has a strong following among many Gujarati communities globally.
And that potential historical significance of Hinglaj Maka in Balochistan still holds for some families, connecting back to those ancient roots.
These pilgrimage sites serve as vital centers for spiritual connection, community gathering. They reinforce the shared religious identity, provide a sense of belonging for Lohanas both in India and across the diaspora. The reverence for Jhulelal in particular bridges regional and even historical religious boundaries.
It shows how physical spaces can really anchor a community's spiritual and cultural life.
Absolutely.
Finally, in our discussion of religious beliefs, we need to touch on the historical context of the Memons and Khojas communities.
Right. Important connections.
Our sources clearly state that these communities originated from segments of the Lohana community who converted to Islam back in medieval Sindh.
Yes, that's the generally accepted history.
The Memons converted to Sunni Islam around the 15th century, maybe early 15th, in Tata, associated with a Sufi pir, Syed Yusufuddin Qadri. The name Memon likely comes from Mu'min, meaning believer. And interestingly, the Kutchi Memons later migrated from Sindh to Kutch after their conversion.
Ah, so they maintain that Kutch connection.
Seems so. The Khojas converted to Shia Ismaili Nizari Islam, also around the 15th century, attributed to Pir Sadruddin and the teachings in the Jainins, their religious literature.
Right, the Jainins are central to Khoja tradition.
It's fascinating that even after conversion, many Khojas retained their original Hindu surnames.
Yes, that's quite common.
And even Muhammad Ali Jinnah's family, the founder of Pakistan, had Lohana ancestry through his Khoja background.
That's a well-known historical connection. Despite these religious differences, there's still that shared linguistic heritage, Kutchi and Sindhi, a shared geographical origin in Kutch and Sindh, and often a strong shared tradition of trade and commerce. It shows these enduring cultural and economic parallels.
The historical divergence that led to the formation of the Memon and Khoja communities from the Lohana base highlights the complex religious history of the region. It's a powerful reminder that religious identities can evolve and that shared ancestry can persist alongside different faith traditions.
Often leading to continued cultural and economic connections, even if sometimes complex ones.
Exactly. Okay, let's now map out the global Kutchi Lohana diaspora.
Their worldwide presence.
It's a long history of migration, really driven by that inherent mercantile orientation we keep talking about. We see early trade networks connecting Kutch and Saurashtra with the Persian Gulf and East Africa.
Yeah, going back centuries.
With Kutchi-speaking merchants, including Lohanas, playing a key role alongside Omani rulers in the 19th century, particularly in places like Zanzibar.
Early pioneers of globalization, in a way.
Then came that major migration wave during the British colonial era, roughly 1880 to the 1940s, to East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, fueled by economic opportunities like the Uganda railway construction.
Right. The British encouraged Indian migration for labor and commerce.
And they really established themselves as prominent entrepreneurs there, became a major economic force.
Absolutely. Families like Madhvani, Mehta built huge enterprises.
The post-colonial era saw another big wave, but this time often forced migration due to political upheaval, especially the expulsion from Uganda in 1972 under Idi Amin.
A traumatic event that dispersed the community again.
With the UK becoming a primary destination, particularly areas like Wembley, Harrow, Leicester.
Yes, large communities settled there and rebuilt their lives and businesses.
Migration to North America, the USA, and Canada also occurred, either directly or often as a secondary move from the UK or Africa, leveraging their established business acumen in various enterprises.
Adapting and succeeding in new continents again.
Beyond these major hubs, there are Kutchi Lohana communities in Pakistan, especially Sindh, obviously, South Africa, Oman, Fiji, Australia, the UAE, New Zealand, potentially even Thailand. It's a truly global spread.
It really showcases their adaptability and drive.
The global diaspora of the Kutchi Lohana community is a testament to their adaptability and their long-standing tradition of seeking out economic opportunities beyond their homeland. Their presence across so many continents underscores their entrepreneurial spirit, their ability to build successful lives in diverse settings.
It's a powerful illustration of how communities can become truly transnational.
A crucial aspect of this diaspora is the role of Mahajans and other community organizations.
It's absolutely vital.
They're so important for maintaining identity, providing support networks for new arrivals, fostering interaction among members, promoting charitable activities, and even helping with business networking.
They perform so many functions.
Our sources list examples like the Lohana Community North London, the Lohana Community Leicester, the Lohana Charitable Foundation of Toronto, the Sri Kutchi Lohana Mahajan in Mumbai. Just a few examples.
These organizations really demonstrate that strong, cohesive nature and those proactive efforts to support their members wherever they settle.
They're the backbone of the diaspora, aren't they? Providing that sense of belonging and continuity for those living far from their ancestral homes.
They really are. They play a vital role in preserving cultural traditions, supporting the social and economic well-being of their members. It highlights the crucial role of social infrastructure in the success of diasporic communities.
And life abroad is all about balancing cultural continuity and adapting to new environments.
That constant negotiation.
Kutchi Lohanas in the diaspora actively work to maintain their language, religion, festivals, customs through these community centers, temples.
Conscious efforts to preserve heritage.
But there's also linguistic borrowing, like that Kutchi Swahili that developed in East Africa, and evolution in social norms, like food habits adapting or marriage policies adapting to local contexts, like in East Africa.
It really sounds like the diaspora is both preserving their heritage and innovating, creating this vibrant, evolving cultural landscape that's connected back to Kutch and Gujarat, but also uniquely its own.
The diaspora experience is a dynamic process of cultural negotiation. The Kutchi Lohana community has shown a remarkable ability to hold on to its core identity while also adapting to the norms and influences of their new homes.
Creating a rich tapestry of blended traditions. It's a case study in the resilience and adaptability of culture in a globalized world.
Definitely. Finally, let's touch on some notable Kutchi Lohana personalities.
Right. Individuals who've made a mark.
We've mentioned some historical, legendary, and religious figures like Luvem, Veer Dada Jarshraj, Jhulelal, Jalaram Bapa, Yogiji Maharaj.
Foundational figures.
There's even Guru Nanak on some lists, though that likely reflects historical connections with other related communities like Khatris and Auroras, rather than Lohanas generally being Sikhs.
Right, important context there. Shared geography and history lead to overlaps.
And when we look at modern fields, our sources provide an extensive list. We won't go through everyone, but prominent individuals in business, politics, arts, sports, academia, social work.
Across the board.
We're talking about pioneers in industry like Nanji Kalidas Mehta, Bhanupal Madhvani, hugely successful business leaders like Sudhir Ruparelia, the Thakrar family behind Tilda Rice.
Household names in some sectors.
Influential figures in UK politics like Lord Dollar Popat, Lord Jitesh Gadia, accomplished artists, musicians, people making significant contributions in science, social work. It really highlights the diverse fields in which this community and related groups have excelled.
The achievements of these notable individuals across such a wide spectrum of fields really underscore the talent, ambition, and adaptability within the Kutchi Lohana community and related groups. Their successes serve as an inspiration, a testament to the community's enduring contributions to society.
It showcases the diverse potential that exists within a community with such a strong foundation and a truly global outlook.
Absolutely.
So to wrap things up, as you can see, the story of the Kutchi Lohana community is truly remarkable.
It really is.
It's a story of resilience, adaptation. From those legendary Kshatriya origins and migrations across the subcontinent to their transformation into this globally successful mercantile community. Their unique cultural fabric, those strong community bonds, and that enduring entrepreneurial spirit have been absolutely key to their thriving in diverse environments, all while keeping their distinct heritage alive.
Indeed. Their journey demonstrates a remarkable ability to navigate change, to adapt their skills and identity in response to new challenges and opportunities, and to maintain a strong sense of community across vast geographical boundaries.
For anyone listening, it offers a powerful lesson in resilience and the enduring strength of cultural identity.
Well said.
And on that note, here's a final thought for you, our listeners, to ponder. Considering their historical shifts in occupation and their vast global reach, what other aspects of identity might continue to evolve for the Kutchi Lohana community as our world becomes even more interconnected?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? It invites you to think about the ongoing interplay between tradition and modernity for this very dynamic community.
If you want to explore this further, we definitely encourage you to delve into the academic studies on Lohana history and diaspora, explore digital archives, maybe visit cultural institutions like the Kutch Museum if you ever get the chance.
Lots of resources out there.
And definitely check out the websites and resources of Kutchi Lohana community organizations around the world. Sites like mylohana.com, lohanamahaparishad.org, and kutchilohana.org are great places to start your own deep dive.
Great suggestions.
Thanks for joining us.